G'day friends, welcome to SKETCHFLIX. Today's movie is The Addams Family Values. This is such a good movie for quotes. It is honestly like a very quotable movie for me. I'm not sure how many other people out there have the same affinity for this movie. It's so random too because this is the only sequel I ever feel like was better than the original. In my personal opinion. I can't state that that might be true for everybody, but I do love the original too. I think it's great, and I'm talking about the movies that Anjelica Huston is Morticia in. I'm not talking about the original TV series. I'm not talking about any other movies that there might be for Addams Family. The ones that I'm really obsessed with are the ones with Anjelica Huston and Christina Ricci because they are just iconic in these roles for me. I love it. And I think what I love the most about this one too is Joan Cusack. I mean, it's so funny because I feel like Joan Cusack doesn't ever play roles like this, or maybe this is like the one role she played like this, but the only other thing I really associate Joan Cusack with is the mother in Ice Princess. Remember that Michelle Trachtenberg movie? Is that her name? I think it was her. She's an ice skater. She's like a science nerd, and she wants to be an ice skater all of a sudden because of Hayden Panettiere. And Kim Cattrall is her mother, and Joan Cusack's like the feminist mother that doesn't believe in like sparkly costumes and ice skating. It's a random movie, super stupid movie, but I have watched it a bunch of times. Guilty pleasure movie. But yeah, so that's the only other thing that I really associate Joan Cusack with, and it's so funny to me to see her in this role because she's just so good at it. And yeah, like I said, super quotable movie. I love it. It's so random. It's like Tim Burton for me in that this is not typically the kind of genre I work with, or like the the themes that I work with. Nothing ooky kooky and spooky, nothing like that typically, but I guess around Halloween time and more recently I have been really getting into it. I'm not going to say that my work is going to be like this forever from now on, but I do really love to dabble in all of that because it is such a fun escape from anything cute or like really whimsical. And I still feel like there's an element of whimsy in this kind of an illustration, but for me, it's just it's having it a little bit darker and having the themes a little bit more, I guess, spooky. It's really not that spooky. It's just fun. It's very spooky for me, right? So, really, really fun. Some of my favorite quotes of all time are in this movie when Uncle Fester says to Debbie, played by Joan Cusack, who I've just been raving about, when he says, "Give me a kiss," and she says, "Give me a 20." Honestly, the way I want to live my life, like truly 100% a goal for me. So really, really fun. I love Morticia Addams. She's such a fun character to draw because it's just all kind of very sleek, long, lanky lines, lots of black. It's always a bit of a challenge to draw anything in a completely black palette because you've got to kind of leave out some of the spaces where the lines connect. Otherwise, you kind of end up with just a black blob on a page. So I think it's a really fun thing to try and illustrate. My tip for that is that if you are kind of illustrating and there's like long black hair and a long black dress and more black features, like if you leave a gap between, so say if you drew the outline, you color up to the outline, and then when you color in the next section, leave a tiny white line between those two sections, and that will kind of be your new guideline, right? So if you leave that little space, things look still disconnected, but you can still make out the shapes, and when your eye takes it all in, it can kind of fill in the blanks for you. So that would be my tip for that. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I made that exact tip last year when I did the Halloween series, and I did a journal spread where I was every character of the Addams Family. That is such a funny journal spread. I still look at that and get such a kick out of it. That was really fun to do, and I think I made exactly the same point back then, so like a year ago, probably to the day. Yeah, just leave that little line in between. If you do end up coloring over it and you don't use a water reactive medium, you can go over with a gel pen, a white gel pen, and pull out those lines again and kind of structure and shape that black mess of ink that you might have put down. I've had to do that a couple of times before too, but if it is a water reactive ink, so you used a Tombow brush marker like I did over there, the white gel pen will actually pull out some of that ink and will tint the white gel pen. So just got to be careful if that is the way that you're going to work. If you're going to draw all of the black first and then outline it in white, make sure that whatever ink you're using to color it in will be receptive to that white gel pen and won't stain it. And typically you're going to have to use something that is waterproof instead of just like a water-based marker like the Tombow. Although I do love the Tombos for SKETCHFLIX. I've mentioned that before too. They're the MVP for SKETCHFLIX because it's got that big brush tip that never comes in handy for anything else for me except SKETCHFLIX. Because I'm not a big brush letterer, and I think Tombos are really great for people that do a lot of brush lettering. It's a really fun pen to use. I never use the bullet tip side, like rarely use that. But the colorless blender has been a real MVP lately too. Ever since I started using it for the watercolor pencil, I have this Derwent watercolor pencil that I like to use when I do SKETCHFLIX because I can kind of get this nice shading and then grab the colorless blender and activate that pigment to spread it out. So it's almost like I'm watercoloring, but I'm not using water at all. I'm just using a watercolor pencil and a colorless blender. So that would be a really fun thing to try if you're someone that loves a lot of, loves to get a lot of shading and likes to use watercolor, but doesn't want to get messy or needs to do it really quickly. It would probably work. I've only done it with the black, but I'm assuming that it would work with any of the colors because the blending ink in that marker will activate because it's moisture, and I guess that's what the watercolor pencils need. This sounds a little sciencey. I don't think I need to be explaining science right now. One of my other favorite quotes from this movie, I love when it's Amanda Miller. Wow, I've pulled a blank. I think the young girl at the Camp Chippewa, her name's Amanda Miller. She when she says, "Is that your bathing suit?" and Wednesday says, "Is that your overbite?" I mean, the shade. The best shade I've ever seen thrown between two young women. It's really, really fun to watch. I love Malibu Barbie. I love when Debbie's like, "His lips are busy." It's so dramatic. Honestly, this movie is so theatrical. When Morticia and Gomez do that little tango across the floor and she's spinning so fast that she kind of lights on fire. Yeah, it's just great. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Everything about it. I love the character of Debbie. I think what makes it so great is Joan Cusack in that. I couldn't really imagine anybody else doing it. She's got that offbeat kind of a wit, and I think just the way she looks as well. Like, they put her in all these pastels, they put her in those little form-fitting dresses. I love when she's in that house, and I love when they're moving all this stuff in there, and she's saying, "These are expensive things. They're from catalogs." Yes, queen. Oh, they're here. Be careful. These are beautiful. What did she say? I want to get the quote right because I don't want to be out here just misquoting. These are beautiful things. They're from a catalog. Give me a kiss, give me a 20. Yeah, super fun stuff. Super fun. And really fun to illustrate as well. I've been really into sketchflixing these live action movies as opposed to the animated ones because it really does kind of open up your ideas about what you can be inspired by and what references to pull. I've said this before, but in animation, I do tend to copy a lot of what I see, which is not a problem, and I don't have much of an issue with that, but it is harder for me to get out of that illustration style once I've started really going in deep with the copying. So with a live action movie, because I'm not actually illustrating in any particular style that I'm seeing visually on the screen, I do get to pull just random references, and I'm not surprised for this one that I pulled mostly Debbie, Morticia, and Wednesday, because those are the three characters that I personally associate with. I really feel an affinity for those three characters. They are just goals for my entire life. This is one of my favorites, when she's in that blue feathered, like, gossamer, it's not gossamer blanket, that's the quote that she says, but when she's in that blue ostrich feather gown just coming down the staircase, and Morticia says that she can forgive everything that she did for enslaving Fester and putting him under some love spell, but the one thing she couldn't forgive was pastels. It's so good. It's so good. And Morticia is actually a really fun character to illustrate. I always imagine that if I was one of those people that did like only work in one journal, I'd always try and not always, but maybe like Morticia would go in the columns of my journal. because she's such a long, slender, like narrow and sleek kind of a look. And this one that I'm drawing right here is actually, I started drawing Morticia and then I kind of gave her a bit of a Wednesday Addams vibe. So this is a bit of a hybrid Morticia Wednesday in the fact that, well, maybe this is Morticia when she's younger, and I've done this before too, but I gave her really big hands once in a journal years ago. And for some reason, I remembered that I did that and that I liked it. So I did it again. And I just think there's such a like an interesting look to that illustration. And I don't know if I ever set out to do stuff like this. I mean, I know I said I just did it once in a journal ages ago, but it's really funny how these references can pull up and inspire you to do something that you haven't done in ages, or do something completely random. Like the one I'm working on now is the little pilgrim outfit that Amanda's working in. She's acting in for the Thanksgiving play. I tried to do some contour drawing where I don't lift the pen off the page and kind of go over the top of everything a couple of times. It didn't turn out any kind of interesting, so I just put some red marker on there to kind of to pull it back to life. It's the same technique that I think I did for Sebastian when I did the Little Mermaid SKETCHFLIX, and that is a Tombow play color. It's a dual tip marker. It's such a random ink. I don't know what's in there, but it's almost a flat lay color of ink, but I know it's not an alcohol-based marker. Well, I think it's not. I got it from Japan, and I think it's supposed to be some kind of correction pen, or maybe just like a bullet journal pen or something. I don't know. It's a really, really fun pen or marker to play with. I'm drawing Debbie here in the outfit that she tries to kill Fester in. Just iconic looks. I didn't get a lot done for this SKETCHFLIX because I was really wrapped up in trying to do the absolute most with the things that I enjoyed, and I'm okay with that. I think at some point I did struggle, and I thought, oh, there's a certain amount of drawings I have to get done in a SKETCHFLIX for me to think that it was successful. But then I thought, well, what am I prioritizing then? Quality over quantity, or quantity over quality? So I know that I'm never supposed to focus on getting a finished piece out of any of this. They're all thumbnail and kind of like, you know, just intuitive sketches and just very thumbnail sketches. They don't have to be finished, but I don't think I'm going to pressure myself to get any certain amount done, because sometimes I just work a little bit slower, and sometimes I get really wrapped up in the movie and end up watching some of it. Remember, this series only started so I could watch telly at work, but I don't think I'm going to worry too much about that, because I don't want to sit there and feel like I failed at something when I have like a bunch of stuff that I'm really happy with. So I might have like 4 pieces that I'm happy with as opposed to 7. I think, to be honest, if you get one that you're happy with, it's a great day, right? But yeah, the Wednesday Addams thing in the middle right there, that's probably one of my favorites from this whole series of drawings. I know it's super weird because I probably would have chosen the hybrid Wednesday Morticia from the page before, but there's just something really interesting about that aesthetic. I don't think I would outline the hair in black again. I think I would have just left it red. But yeah, I really love how that turned out, and I would love to work with that a little bit more. Oh, don't I yearn and ache and shop? Don't I deserve love and jewelry? Her Debbie's big monologue when she's about to kill everybody. It's so dumb. Malibu Barbie. It's never left my head from the first time I've seen that movie. This is quite an old movie too. When did this come out? Cut to me not doing any research before I do the voiceover. And I had to put a little lurch in there because it's, you know, why not? He's one of the most underrated characters, I feel like, in these movies. He kind of pops up for 1 or 2 scenes in the whole movie, and so I did want to give him a bit of a moment there. So these are all the sketches. I had a fantastic time. Loved the little fish over there. Loved the little flamingo. Don't know how that happened. Loved the octopus. That was on Pubert's crib. I love the little image of Pubert up there. You can see I started Uncle Fester, but I didn't really continue with that. Like this Morticia, I like that she's got that illuminated eye look. I wish I could live my life like that. Honestly, props to whoever came up with that idea in the movie, because having Angelica Houston's eyes lit was truly iconic. I love this kind of Maleficent Morticia hybrid down there. Let me know if you can Brangelina that name up. Maleficent and Morticia, how would you put that together? I'm not going to say it out loud because I think that sounds stupid, but if you can find a good way to do it, let me know. I love the images on this page too, especially Debbie in that nightgown, just iconic looks. And that one right there in the middle, that's my favorite. Thank you so much for watching another SKETCHFLIX. I hope you're enjoying all of the SKETCHFLIX videos we have out. There's a bunch out there already. There's a whole playlist if you want to check out any more of those. Until the next one, have a fantastic time and let me know if you get up to any yourself. Bye!